Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Dogs Down South. Have not been on in a while, but it's the off season and there's always something to talk about. It's just if we can find something good to talk about. Definitely not the most exciting part of the year right now. We are slowly awaiting spring football as we speak. Some things happening here or there, but we're going to do some fun things tonight. We're going to do a little catch-up show, myself and my man, Richman. What's up, man? How are you?
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Good. A little bit better weather up in Georgia. What's your temperatures right now?
It was pretty today. I
What's
actually was
pretty for
sweating a
Georgia?
little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was like, wow, I got a sweat going here.
That's
I
good.
like the
You guys
I like
just
the nice weather. I don't really want to sweat.
right. You guys just left some snow, so
It could I'd like it to be like 65 to 68, not 70 to 75.
yeah. Oh, that's good. That's real good. Hey, if you haven't already done so, make sure you hop over and follow us on YouTube. Trying to get to that 1,000 followers. This is the off season. Cannot wait for fall, obviously, where we can track the dogs weekly as we go through the 2025-2026 season. Hop over to YouTube and follow us on Dogs Down South. If you haven't already done so, also on Facebook. Obviously, if you're here, you've pretty much found us, kind of know where we're at. But tell your friends, tell your family, Instagram, pretty much anywhere that we have a podcast that you can get to. We are on it. 24 hours later, we're on Apple Podcasts. So make sure you go over there and follow Dogs Down South on Apple Podcasts. We're going to open up with a little fun tonight, Rich, man. We're going to catch people up on what some off-season news is happening. But in terms of doing that, we're going to do a little buy or sell on some questions and ideas that are floating around, some stuff around Georgia, and then also some stuff around the SEC. So I thought that would be a fun way to kick off the night. So let's hop in. So first topic on buy or sell. These are obviously some things that have come up. Some of it's fake news. Some of it has been talked about. Some of it's a big time story, and maybe we need to dive into it tonight. But the first one I have on here is I got these questions from multiple podcast people that are doing SEC podcasts and Georgia podcasts, and one of the things that continues to roll around is this story about Gunnar Stockton and Ryan Puglisi. Now, we all feel like that after after the Carson Beck thing and the quick turn to Gunnar, we know what that was about. That was still the most game time that any of those quarterbacks had besides possibly Jaden Rashada. But that might have been more of a game time like decision and more snaps and reps with, teams at practice. But Ryan Puglisi has been talked about very highly, very big time NFL arm, got a little wheels about him. We haven't seen a lot of live film on him. I'm sure we'll see a lot of reps for him in the G-Day game, which at the end, some of you already know, but at the end of the show, we're going to announce that date. But Gunnar Stockton or Ryan Puglisi, let's talk real quick and let's talk buy or sell. What do you think about this? And give me your take on this one right here, Richman.
I was looking at them the other day, and I can't remember exactly, but Gunnar's is he like 5'11"? Is he 6 foot?
I think he's around 6 foot. Yeah. I don't remember the 5 being from his name. Yeah.
I think Puglisi is like 6'3".
Yeah. Yeah.
So Puglisi's 6'3", and supposedly he's got the pro arm, the quick release. So I think it's going to be a dogfight. I don't think we're going to see. I think the first two games, we're probably going to see both of them play. It's Gunnar's to lose, and I'm gonna stick with Gunnar. I'll buy Gunnar, but
yeah,
I'm anxious to see what Puglisi can put out there, man. If he's 6'3" and he's got that gun of an arm, if he's a player, he might take it. I don't know.
Yeah, I got Gunnar Stockton at 6'1", and Puglisi at 6'3". You're correct about that. The biggest thing I see is the separation that I see, though, is you got a 6'3" Ryan Puglisi, but he's about 205 pounds. Or crazily enough, you got a 6'1" Gunner Stockton ringing about 220. I didn't see 220 out there. That's pretty eye opening. But
I didn't see that either.
I saw two that said 220. But I think you're right. I think I'm going to buy Gunner. I think I buy the Gunner Stockton starting quarterback thing. I know there's a couple games out at the beginning of the year. You get Marshall and you get. I haven't pulled up our schedule. We haven't really worked through that yet. But I know you get Marshall the second game of the year, maybe first. I think it's first. So you definitely have a couple of games to work some kinks out. But then it gets real. Game 3, you got to go to Neyland. Game 3 in Tennessee. So you definitely got to have who you need. I'm interested to see a few things at G-Day. I'm interested to see how well he can control the huddle. I'm interested to see his command on the field, and I'm interested to see how live this arm is. There's something to say about a good deep ball. I think Gunner has a good deep ball, but I'll be honest with you, we could have used, especially in the playoffs. I thought Beck was incredibly accurate, anywhere from 5 to 15 yards. And we could have really used some of that really snappy arm from 5 to 15 yards in the playoffs. So I don't know. And we all know this game is about, you need a level of experience, but you look at a lot of these quarterback battles just going to happen in the SEC, and we're going to save it for a rainy day because we're going to have a lot of information to talk about between now and first college football game. But there's a lot of SEC quarterback battles that are going to happen where freshmen are going to be involved in the decision. So I would not put this. I'm with you. I'm buying Gunner, but I definitely wouldn't just say I'm buying Gunner and not a thought in my mind crosses to.
No, we're gonna have a good battle. Unless Puglisi just falls apart in the G-Day game,
right.
And he doesn't show. Doesn't show anything that's impressive. They might then walk Gunner out as number one first game of the season and let it ride. But I don't know. From what I've heard, I think we're going to have some competition, and I think the competition's healthy for everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I think practice and competitive competitions at all positions are very healthy. You got to remember Stetson and Jake Fromm and all of those guys. They were back. We don't know what actually was happening, obviously, but we constantly heard about you were not guaranteed that starting job every week.
Yeah.
And I think that's healthy.
Fromm had an interview recently where he talked about that. It was interesting,
to say the least. Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. We're going to both buy
He
Gunner.
Didn't get any of that love.
No. And the thing about it is, and I'm not going to, I love Jake Fromm. Jake Fromm is one of my all-time favorite quarterbacks at the University of Georgia. Some people call me crazy, but my favorite quarterback of all time at the University of Georgia is Aaron Murray. I really like Aaron Murray. I thought he was gritty. He was tough, had a great arm. He was a great kid. NIL wasn't around, so he didn't have to worry about what kind of decisions he would make around NIL. He may be a little bit different. His brother did go on The Bachelor, and who knows? I don't know if NIL would have been around what Aaron Murray would have done, but he's a damn good dog, and so I like Aaron Murray.
Hey, let's go way back. One of my favorites is Ray Goff. He absolutely destroyed Florida single-handedly. And after the game was over, in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, they had a picture of a Florida player holding the tearaway jersey that was Ray Goff's, and it said he ran like a mule.
Wow. I will tell you that Ray Goff would had to have been a better player because I didn't really love him as
he was a really good quarterback.
Yeah, that's interesting. I need to go pull some. If YouTube has any of those clips, I need to go pull some Ray Goff material. Colby Young, big news out of Athens is that a lot of these charges have been brought down. He received some community service, which we all thought would happen. Fortunate for Colby, this didn't all happen in late December, early January. But all signs point to Colby returning. But I wanted to, I know we talked about on offense what we have coming in and what we have coming back at the receiver position, but this is a guy that you wonder if he's in this rotation this past year, does it seep into some confidence in our receivers and confidence in our throw and catch from our quarterback, even though we've all said we could beat it to death, that relationship and the culture of our quarterback to our wide receivers this past year was not healthy. But as Colby Young come back this year, does he have an opportunity to have a breakout year? I mean, do you buy or do you sell that, Richman?
I'd like to buy that.
We hope, right?
But we've been burnt so much with these transfers in. I'd like to buy that. I'd like to think that he comes in, that he's like a leader in the locker room, that he, takes every opportunity and every second of this and makes everything he can out of it and goes on to have a great career. That's what I'd like to see. But
yeah.
I mean, how many times do we see they come in and they have 1 strike, 2 strike, and you're thinking, okay, they're going to walk the line and they're going to be a model player or model and teammate, and they blow it again. So
yeah, and the thing I don't understand is with Colby, it's like his situation was a little bit different. We don't know. I mean, we're definitely not going to speak into any of these stuff with cases. I barely know. I can scratch the surface on what some of the evidence of it is, but I will tell you this: that the players need to understand that there was a day where it was much more strict. You lived in the dorms, you had no option. It was the football dorms. You didn't live in dorms with other people. Better yet, you didn't.
They had night check, man.
Yeah, night check, and it was definitely a different world. Even without NIL, it was a different world. And I just think that some of these kids need to understand that for them, this part of their life is subsequently very short. Enjoy it, develop, use it to the best of your ability, because it's your springboard, and it can be a bad springboard or it can be an incredible springboard. And you've seen so many of these players hit obstacles that have really jacked it all up for it. I think
in 10 years, you're going to look back and see just like a racetrack of littered, torn up cars that were players that had all the NIL money and all the opportunity, and it destroyed them, and they never made it to the pros, ruined their lives.
I can see stories. Yeah, I can see stories of our kids saying, "Man, I sell cars with Carson Beck." It's like you got all your money when you were at Miami, and then you didn't go anywhere. You didn't know how to value it. You didn't know how to work it, and now you're selling cars in North Miami because you blew it all, and your best scenario was an NIL hothead college guy who now drives nothing wrong with it, but a Mitsubishi Galant, and you live in paycheck to paycheck. I can see that.
Yeah, and didn't even get a college degree.
Exactly. Agreed. Exactly. So I want to buy the Colby Young thing. But my thing is, I agree with you. I mean, we are right. We did not get together and rehearse this before, but I would sell on this. And the only reason I'd sell on it is because I just got to see these receivers come together. I got to see, to be able to buy right now. We're talking about money in hand, right? I got money in hand. Is it is it a bet? I would say if we were playing, bet or fold, different story. I might take some chances and bet, but we're talking about buy or sell here, money in hand. What is the product you're looking at? And I just haven't seen this receiver room with a different quarterback that has a culture of we throw and catch together, we eat together, we walk together, we have this cohesion. We had a very uncohesive unit last year, quarterback to wide receiver, and even sometimes I would think wide receiver to wide receiver. I think we mentioned a couple of days ago, man, like it's hard to watch all these running backs and wide receivers at the Senior Bowl making these crazy catches and incredible runs, and it's like for Georgia, you kind of feel a little cheated, huh, Richman?
Yeah.
Arian Smith makes the over the shoulder catch, and I'm just
make catches down there he's never made.
I'm like, I feel like you ever seen that movie Blue Chips with Shaq and Nick Nolte and all them? It's like I feel like he was betting, like he was like, if I don't throw these games, bro, I'm not going to make this money. Like it felt that way some nights. It was like, I don't even know how you missed that ball. It would be hard for me to intentionally miss a ball that's in my face mask, that's lodged in my face mask almost. That was how I felt some games. I don't know. But I will sell on Colby Young until I see a culture of these wide receivers that we've brought in. We brought some in last year. We looked at those, but until I see the Branches and the Noah, the Noah Thomases and the Taylors and all these, this being one cohesive unit, I don't buy this yet. So, moving on, Ohio State. I know you said earlier you hadn't really. This is kind of in but out. Ohio State rumors on Glenn Schumann. I know right now Ohio State is in a little bit of a frazzled situation. They lose Chip Kelly to the Raiders, to the Las Vegas Raiders. That's a weird scenario. I don't know how that went down. You got to wonder, right? Like, you got to wonder. You went to Ohio State. I don't think if you're Chip Kelly, you went just for, I don't know. You didn't go for just a national championship. Like, maybe just to add that to his resume. I don't know. I don't know what went on with that. But defensive coordinator for Ohio State, different story. A lot of mud being tossed around the defensive coordinator, and I have his name right on the top of my tongue, and I can't call it, so I'm going to good old fashioned Google it. Here we go, right here, Jim Knowles. So Jim Knowles goes to Penn State. Like, he didn't go to Oregon, he didn't go to, I don't know, Alabama. He stayed in the Big Ten and actually went over to kind of a rivalry, in my opinion, with Ohio State, right?
That's weird.
This is huge, right? Because Penn State has a team this coming up year that can compete for a national championship. So how cool is this for Knowles? Is it the perfect get back? Because I heard that even down to the celebration of the national championship, they were like, you're not getting on stage if you don't sign this contract. I don't know how much true to that is, but are you familiar with the situation? What do you think about Jim Knowles? Yeah, I heard.
If they told me that, I wouldn't get on the stand. I don't like being bulldogged.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, how much do these coaches really think Ryan Day, like, how much does he have? And you've heard the stories. You're like, we can stay on this all night. We don't want to, but we've heard the stories. It's like, Ryan Day, he can't win the big one because fill in the blank. And then you see him win the national championship, and then you hear all the banter around. It's like, we did this together. We're always, it's us against the world. It's Ryan Day against the world. And it's just like, this scenario just always plays in his favor. Yet you turn around and you go, nothing that was there to keep Chip Kelly there. Nothing was there, obviously. First opportunity at an NFL job, which I don't really like the Pete Carroll hire. I'm not an NFL guy, but I don't like the Pete Carroll hire at Las Vegas. Why do you go there? Right? When I heard there was other places that would have been coming for you. I mean, the Bucks wanted, I think they wanted a little bit of Brian Kelly, but then Jim Knowles, the ultimate, excuse my language, the ultimate screw you. I'm going to Penn State.
That's fun.
What's that about? So the question, the buy or sell question is then Glenn Schumann comes in. Now, is this if this even was true, like, is this a move? Is this a sell for Schumann? I mean, I'll give you my answer.
Why would you do a lateral move to?
Is Ohio State lateral?
I'd say it's a lateral. I mean,
everybody talked about how Ohio State has these unlimited resources. Ryan Day will go after every, player that he can. The money's pretty much unlimited. He just dropped $25 million on a championship roster. Caleb Downs. Now, this will be a year where I'm wondering if Jim Knowles is like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm losing 9 starters on defense. 9. And I'm losing 2 coaches. So if I'm Schumann, I'll tell you what I'm saying. If I'm Schumann, I'm like, regardless of if I'm Georgia, if I'm in or out, I sell. I'm like, I don't want to go into a rebuild at Ohio State when I'm sitting here going, all right.
Not in today's world, man, especially in one of these top tier programs, because they expect you to win it every year. Even if you're rebuilding or you don't have, they expect it anyway.
Yeah. So, you think this is just a bunch of like smoke they're blowing right now?
I think it's stirred up. I don't
I
think
think it's I mean, I sell on this. I think this is a bunch of fake, just blown up news. I think Schumann's going to be there until the right college head
yeah,
coaching position or a very
Schuman's
appealing NFL job.
a step up to a head coaching job.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I don't see that.
Moving along. Elijah Griffin. This name, right? I am following this name very close. So seller buy starts this year, and this is your next Jalen Carter. I know that's a lot to say, but here's my thing: 6'5", 300 pounds. Just got his grade in. Obviously graded as a full 5-star. Ended up the third nationally ranked player in the United States and the number one player at his position. He has the size. I've heard the name disruptive interior force, exceptional physical traits with here's the thing, advanced feel for the game. Advanced feel for the game, right? This name is intriguing. Why? Because Christian Miller returns. And then if Jordan Hall, we're going to talk about depth in a minute, but I like this name to be able to comfortably come in this year, play some valuable snaps. And is he a household name at Georgia as early as this year? What do you think?
I think so, but I don't think he's going to start. I mean, unless he is like an unbelievable once in 100-year talent, I don't think he'll start. I think he's going to play a lot. He'll rotate, but I mean, you know how Kirby is about freshmen.
Mm-hmm.
He almost has to get forced in the corner to start one.
I'm wondering if this is the year. I mean, there's going to be a lot of pressure, not pressure on him, but it's like Taylor. I mean, you saw KJ, right? He took a chance with KJ. KJ Bolden, saw some valuable snaps. I'm almost wondering if that was purposeful because of the fact that look what you would have lost in the secondary if KJ never takes the field, right? You lose Dan, you lose Malachi, and you have a very, very green secondary back there, and you're probably having to go out and either move Ellis Robinson's position or you're having to go in the portal and grab somebody.
I mean, go back at nose tackle. Kristen Miller's going to be your number one, don't you think?
Yeah, I think Christian Miller is going to be.
And I think, I can't even say his name. Agboka.
Mm-hmm.
If he's healthy, I think he'll be number 2.
Yeah. I like Jordan Hall in the mix in there some ways. Jordan Hall, I think, has to put on some weight and figure out if he can stay healthy.
Xavier McLeod and Jordan Hall are going to be in that defensive tackle. I mean, your nose tackle is basically your strong side.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you got redshirt freshman Jordan Thomas. You got a lot of beef coming. He's going to have to whip a bunch of boys to get up there to.
I like Gibson, man. I like Gibson. I think Gibson's a Jalen Carter-like talent. The reason I have him out here is because I just think this is the year that I think Kirby. There's something he's saying about not going in the portal and paying some of these players. We didn't go out when we lost Damon, what was his name? It's a good thing I've already forgot his name. Evans. When we lost him, I mean, we didn't rush out. I mean, we may still be in line for a D end or an edge.
We got
somewhere after spring, but I will tell you that you can see some very creative stuff going on at defensive end, because I do see this as a position now. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I like an edge. I mean, can Gibson do some of that. I don't think so. But I think you just never know. You just never know. But I like his name. I'm gonna be honest with you. I like the Jalen Carter scenario, but I think you're gonna see. I agree with you. If we say start, maybe the easier question is do we see him? Does he play a substantial amount of time this year, and does he become a very impactful defensive lineman per Jalen Carter? And I think I'm buying that. I think we have to, because unless he's an absolute belly flop.
What is his size? I can't remember.
So he's 6'5", 300 pounds. So
he's ready to go.
Yeah, he's a man.
Actually 6'5", 300. He might play the edge, man.
He
I don't
could.
know what his speed is, but if you're 6'5", he's going to have that arm length, which would be excellent on the edge.
Yeah, incredible. I'm buying this, man. I'm watching this kid. I cannot wait to see this kid on defense at G-Day. I think he's going to be making some tackles, and you're going to hear his name popping out of spring practice, which we're going to announce spring practice and G-Day at the end of the podcast tonight. Last one for Georgia. Georgia's top 5 team. Is Georgia a top 5 team to start the year? Are you buying that, or are you selling that?
That's a good one. I don't think so.
I
think we should
start out. Go ahead.
I think we should be like 5th, but no, we should be 4th or 5th.
I think we're right outside, probably around 6, because I think people are going to go nuts. I think the one team people are going to go nuts about this year, and be very careful about this one, but I think people are going to go nuts over Clemson this year and Cade Klubnik and this defense. Obviously, they fired their defensive coordinator. They got a new Dabo's doing some things right now. And so people are going to be a little fascinated by Clemson, but I think that's where Georgia is a little bit better. And so I think Georgia's right there at that 5 mark to start the year, because we just don't know. A lot of people are going to have them. I think we're going to start like probably 6 or 7. But I see
that's
Texas,
because we don't have. There's a lot of teams that don't have a quarterback, but
I agree.
A lot of that's going to be, what's your rookie quarterback going to play like? How long is it going to take him to get gamey?
Here's a question for you: who has the most snaps and is the scariest returning veteran quarterback in the SEC this year? Veteran. Didn't say had a year and chose,
It's going to be Florida or
no. Lagway's a sophomore. Veteran. I'm talking junior, senior. It's his. He's taken some snaps. He's been there a couple years. The 2 people that come to mind are Diego Pavia at Vanderbilt and Nico Iamaleava. Man, this will be Nico's 3rd year.
I thought Nico. It's a 3rd year.
2.5. He came in middle of the season after my man, I forget his name, Joe Milton, got hurt. So he played the last 3 games of his first year, and in the bowl game in the last 2 games, and then the full year this year. But Lenore Sellers, maybe Sellers is on his 2nd year, but I can't think of anybody. There's a quarterback battle happening in Alabama. Can you really say Arch Manning? He's been there forever. Maybe they might be.
I'll tell you, Arch looked good when he played, though.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people have Texas as, I think a lot of people are saying Texas is your AP number 1 next year, starting the year out.
Texas over Ohio?
Ohio State's got to replace 9 starters on defense. I think just.
But what is their offense
geographically?
like?
What's that?
They lost their quarterback, too.
Who?
Ohio State.
Yeah. So yeah, quarterback's gone. So Julian Sayin will step in. Possibly, there's a quarterback battle. There's a St. Pierre kid, this freshman. There's quarterback battles everywhere, man. So I think you see it's random. I think a lot of people have Clemson up there. A lot of people have Texas as number 1. Ohio State.
How's Penn State?
Penn State is probably in your top 5. Oregon. Oregon, it just depends on if that quarterback from UCLA that sat out and waited a year. I think his name is Deontay Thompson or something. I mean, really athletic kid. I don't know if he's the next Dylan Gabriel, but I think Georgia sits right out there, 6 or 7, very safely. But there's a lot of SEC questions. I'm going to sell on this just because it's the question is the start of the year. I think you're going to see the solidified teams that have everything on paper coming back and haven't seen what could be coming out of the woodwork. Let's stretch really quickly before we hop on defensive depth chart outside of the SEC. Real quick, let's fly through these. Here's a good one. Is this Auburn's year? I mean, is this it? Is this the year that they break that 6 or 7 wins, bowl eligibility, and who knows, man, that they may beat Alabama. I mean, they've done well in recruiting. They went and grabbed Jackson Arnold from Oklahoma.
But really, what is a year for Auburn? If they don't win the national championship, it's a bust. So,
is it?
I mean, you know those people. You're related to one of them.
Freeze this year. I think Hugh Freeze has to go. I think Hugh Freeze has to go 7-5, 8-4 this year. And we're going to look at schedules later on, but that's going to be hard, very hard, because you got to remember this is the same schedule as last year. It's just flipped.
If he goes 7-5 this year, they're going to have. He's going to be on the hot seat bigger than.
Yeah. I mean, I think hot seat, yes. I think
if they don't win 10 games, he'll be on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I mean, the only way for him to get off their hot seat is probably win a national championship.
Yeah. What about Texas? So I take it you're selling on Auburn.
Oh yeah.
This is their year. Yeah, I'm selling on Auburn too. Because my thing is if Hugh Freeze can jack some stuff up, man, and he just hasn't been the same. Some people say you don't have the juice from all the. I won't go back and drag Hugh Freeze to the mess that he came out of, but I mean, they just say he's not as motivated, and I can see why. I mean, if you're being motivated like that every night, I get it, man. This is family friendly. But I don't think this is Auburn's year, man. I think they're going to have some great talent, and I think between boosters, I mean, and everything else. I mean, if Bruce Pearl was coaching football, maybe. I mean, who knows? I mean, that guy's getting a lot out of his players in basketball. I sell that as well. Texas is the best team in the SEC starting the year. Be buy or sell that. I tell you what, Georgia does not come into play in this. We won't be biased. Georgia's not in this mix. If Georgia didn't exist,
you know what? I'll give them that because I think the quarterback situation that they're starting out with is
it's the most comfortable. It's just the most comfortable.
It's kind of the most comfortable, yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I haven't done a deep dive on their what they've lost, but I don't think they lost a lot of people, did they?
Some key players on the offensive line. They did do some restructuring on the defensive line. Obviously, I mean, you're going to figure it out. You're going to figure it out really quick when Justice Terry. I mean, we're going to see what Texas takes a chance with, because I think Justice Terry, who some people look and go, Georgia lost Justice Terry, but I think Georgia didn't have Justice Terry. I think Justice Terry wanted to come to Georgia, but I think Texas money would not allow Justice Terry to flinch when you probably got upwards of $2-3 million to come as a freshman, not knowing it. That's still a lot of money, because you don't know if you're going to even have him on the field the first year. You know, you're betting on the future. You know, so but they got the kid from Ohio State. I think his name is starts with a K. I forget it, but they restructured some things. A lot of the secondary coming back. They did lose their star safety. A lot of those running backs that were hurt at the beginning of the year. It was crazy to see how good of a run game, in my opinion, Texas had last year with two guys that, if you look back at those two guys that are healthy to start the year, the two backs that saw a lot of time this year don't even see the field. So I think the run game for them will be very
that
strong.
Receiver, what is his name? He's got like a cowboy name.
We lost, our kid from Auburn via Texas. He's going to the
the Texas receiver.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
can't remember his name, but he's coming back.
Yes, made a lot of really, really great catches, not only against us, but Let's see if I can pull this kid's name. Ryan Wingo. That who we're
Wingo.
looking at? Wingo,
Yeah,
yeah,
like Wingo, Texas.
yeah. And
Yeah,
then
he was
Cook,
all over the place, man. He was a good ball player.
and apparently the other kid who went in the portal, Cook, just got arrested. That's interesting. I think Texas, without knowing much about no SEC Georgia bias, without knowing much about nothing
Well,
other
look at
than
their.
just
They
on
got the same
paper.
schedule again. So I mean,
Yeah.
what have they got to do? I mean,
Yes.
they're gonna be back at the SEC championship
Yeah.
unless they just absolutely fall apart, which I don't see that happening.
Yeah. I mean, you got to go to. It could play the same way as it did versus Georgia this year. You got to go to Georgia, and you could suffer a loss and still be fine to get in there because the rest of your schedule just doesn't. I mean, Texas A&M comes to you this
I mean, I
year.
would be more concerned about us taking a loss because we're placing a lot more. It looks like than they are.
I'd
I
have
don't
to
know.
look at that
I still think it's
like
going to
name
be.
for name.
I
I have to
still
look
think
at
it's
it
going to be
name
a
for
really
name.
good game.
Yeah, I have to look at it name for name. And you
It's
know
going to
how
be
it
their
goes.
best game.
Yeah, but you know how it goes. Spring, you see some people come out of the woodwork you didn't think you'd see. Here's a sell or buy. 3 SEC coaches lose their jobs this year. 3 of them. You buy or sell that?
I'll sell that. I don't think 3 of them will lose their, but I think Florida's going to come along. I think he's going to be okay. I think Kelly's going to be on the hot seat. He already's on the hot seat. And if Brian Kelly doesn't pull if he doesn't pull an SEC championship showing
Uh-huh.
and get to the SEC, at least get there, I think he might be gone. What do you think?
Yeah. I think that a lot of people are saying that this is the year for LSU to make some waves with Nussmeier saying he's coming back. I mean, we talked about it. Nussmeier has got the best odds right now. I know there's later on they'll be different, but right now he has the best odds to win the Heisman right now, which is
I didn't
wild.
realize. I forgot Nussmeier's coming back. Yeah, he's going to be the best. He's
Yeah.
probably the best quarterback in the SEC right now.
Yeah,
with
I would put them in
experience.
this. I think what holds me back for LSU is Brian Kelly. I don't think Brian Kelly's going to lose his job, but the people that I'm worried about, I'm gonna sell this, but I will tell you that I'm very worried about if it's an unwise decision to sell it, because if I was ever taking a chance on buying something, you sometimes you look and you go, it was very unwise to buy baseball cards because even though they're all fine and dandy now, you don't ever look and really think, oh, I'm going to make some money back on those one day or so on and so forth. But like when I look at it, I do see Arkansas. Sam Pittman has been just on life support for the past 2 years, and how many more seasons can he go? How many more seasons can he make excuses? Just continue to be not the answer for Arkansas. And then I look at
Stoops.
Stoops. Yep, I was going there right now. I look at Stoops and how many more excuses Kentucky give him. I thought this year would be a question if Stoops would remain. And then there's some wild cards out there. There's there's Brian Kelly, and then there's I'll throw a name out there for you. Is Tennessee going to start getting a little bit frustrated with Josh Heupel? I mean, he's got these teams, but he's got this high-powered offense. But this high-powered offense, when it hits big games, it just don't do anything, right?
Well, I think we talked about this, but these high-powered offenses all sputtered against the Big Ten this year.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like they hit a brick wall.
Yeah.
I was ready to see Sarkisian pull some offense out, and they looked about as vanilla as Bobo. So,
yeah,
I wasn't. People were complaining about Bobo, and I was like, well, he didn't look much different than Sark.
Right.
So,
I mean, there's possibilities that the wild card is, I think, I think Stoops this year and Pittman from Arkansas. I think there are two that are going to be gone. I'm just calling that one. And it might not be by being fired. I think you could see Stoops kind of ease on into retirement or go do the head coaching. Go do the booth thing before he finds something that's appealing and that will make him go coach defense for somebody, and then he'll land back somewhere else where people go, oh, he's resurged and they can pay him a bunch of money and all that crap. But the ones that sit on the hot seat in that, where does Eli Drinkwitz go with these next teams the next 2 years? He doesn't have the offensive production he's going to have in the past few years.
Well, some of these, I mean, some of these people aren't going to go anywhere because of NIL,
right?
Because they can't
That's the biggest
buy
reason.
These guys out and pay these players.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think when you look at it at the end of the day, though, I don't see three, but if there was a two in that spot, I bet. Last one, Ryan Grubb. This is a name that some people may know and some people don't. It was widely thought that Ryan Grubb would actually come to Alabama with Kalen DeBoer from Washington, but instead he chose to go be the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks, who had one of the worst offenses in the NFL. And so you were wondering if you would see Nick Sheridan be replaced and how that would work. Could it only be Ryan Grubb? And it is Ryan Grubb coming to Tuscaloosa. And I don't know what that means for Nick Sheridan, but my question is, at the end of the day, is this a buy or sell? Is Ryan Grubb going to take Alabama back to the promised land?
Man, I don't know, man. I think Alabama's in a weird place right now. And I think it's like a surfer riding a weird wave. I think they're going to have to ride this wave. And I don't know that I'm not even sure coaches fix this wave. I just think it's a wave. Everything's cyclical. Alabama's been up so long. I think the swell of this wave's fixing to go down a little bit. And I'm not sure coaching is the answer yet.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. And I don't think Ryan Grubb is going to fix anything. I think you have a quarterback battle, and I think the quarterback battle has to just got some really cool information through text here live on here. So I was talking to my boss, and they're getting ready. Chick-fil-A is getting ready to have their yearly conference. This year it's out in San Diego, and he just told me that Kirby is one of the keynote speakers for Chick-fil-A out in San Diego. So I'm like, bro, I got to get some autograph. I'm sitting here texting, and I'm like,
Kirby's working that NIL angle up there with
right
those Chick-fil-A boys,
dude. I mean, obviously, dude, trying to get some Chick-fil-A. I mean, NIL, dude. What would you want? Let's hop in real quick, though. Let's look at defensive depth chart. These are 1, 2, maybe some 3 deep on the defense. We're going to browse through just how we think it may look. We talked about D tackle. I can totally see Christian Miller as the guy, centerpiece of this defensive line coming into spring. And then I like Xavier McLeod right there as number 2. And then, I just don't know. When you look at the nose, you gotta know that that's the position that Kirby is like, look, I need the days of old for somebody to take on two blockers, right? Yep. So, I mean, I don't know if Elijah Griffin's the guy. Jordan Hall's got to be healthy. And then a defensive end, here's where it gets a little bit squirrely for me. I got to figure out who's going to really, you haven't seen a lot of these names, right?
Ajonye,
Quintavious Johnson, widely big time recruit, 5-star edge. I think he ended up 4-star edge. We recruited
Justin
him last
Green
year.
Also.
Yeah, Justin Green. You got, I think we talked about, does Gibson kind of float around? So I don't really know. I do know that Isaiah Gibson's another 5-star guy. that could see some time at edge. I'm really excited about him. Don't get them mixed up either. You got Griffin and you got Gibson. Gibson is the kind of the edge Michael Williams type build, and then you got the Jalen Carter-ish Elijah Griffin. I'm really high on Griffin, but I could see Isaiah Gibson seeing some time. Another 5-star guy down there. What do you like? You agree with this? You kind of think this is kind of? I think besides Christian Miller, Xavier McLeod, I think after that this gets into experimental for spring, right?
Dude, this can be a dogfight. I mean, because you got a bunch of talent there, and then you got Griffin coming in. I mean, wouldn't you love to be able to go watch these practices? God,
I'd love it, man. I'd love to be. I mean, we should, right? Should just fly up there, man. We get some dogs down south access, right? Some media.
You know what we need
we need media passes, bro.
No, we need the little what do you call that?
Drones.
Thing? Yeah,
you gotta fly the drones, man.
Get the drone over there. I bet Kirby's got people out there with 12 gauge shotguns guarding for drones.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right, man. Linebacker pool. I like the linebacker pool. I like Gabe Harris. I see promise from Gabe Harris. That outside position. Another. It's Quintavious
Johnson's coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at Quintavious Johnson, another Michael Williams type body, right? So Michael Williams would sometimes, he would go from edge and then he would hop out there and he could play outside, So, I mean, I like these two guys. I think we're gonna see some depth develop here. This is in that Schumann, Kirby, 3-4 kind of where that. This position right here is very fluid. This could be a D end or this could be a legitimate outside linebacker. So this is the one position that sometimes can be played by more of a defensive lineman. We ran a little bit of bear this year where that was kind of obvious. So, sorry. Mac, I know you're. I'm gonna give you some time to talk about CJ. I like CJ. He's got to make some improvements, but I feel good about CJ coming in. This is a guy that'll be coming in his third year. We'll be really relying on him to set this defense up and be a leader, not only on the field, but I think we need this guy to really step up in the locker room and off the field. A lot of talent with Justin Williams, and then some names you really don't know are Chris Jones. AJ Crua is a freshman that's coming in with a lot of talent. And then here's your money position. This is where Jalen made his career this past year and we hoping, that a Raylan Wilson and a Chris Cole, who's been in this system a good amount of time, is gonna really shine in here. And then Zayden Walker, obviously phenomenal 5-star athlete out of Sly County High School coming in. We don't know if they'll see the field.
You got a redshirt freshman named Chris Jones that's also
yes,
third on the depth chart for now.
What do you like? I mean, what do you like about this linebacking core? I mean,
that kid coming in from Sly County is supposed to be something.
I heard he's a very good talent, man. I mean, these guys have 5 stars for a reason, and we got 3 of them. They had true 5-star ratings on that side of the ball. You gotta wonder how early you see these guys, right?
I'm wondering if you've got a 5-star linebacker that can pick up the defense, and we keep toying with this, but you got to think that if they've got the talent and some ability, that Kirby's got to work them in.
I agree. And you wonder, Justin Williams, he's a number that you saw out there a little bit last year, but you heard so much about Justin Williams, another 5-star linebacker. He saw the field a little bit, but never him and Chris Cole. I think Chris Cole, actually, in my opinion, may have just been a little bit more of a hybrid guy. I mean, you look at Chris Cole's height. He looks like a gazelle. What is he, 6'5", 6'6"? Curious to, I've been kind of Googling this like all night. Let's see here. Who we got? Chris Cole. Let me see what his height is. What do you guess? What are you guessing on height?
Probably 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah, I gave him a little bit too much. I got him at 6'3". I gave him a little bit too much at 6'6", but 6'3", which is still
That's good.
Incredibly
That's
athletic for 6'3".
What's his weight?
I got him at 235.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how quick he is.
He made the field, in my opinion. I saw him more than anybody. I mean, Justin Williams, I saw him out there for a little time, but yeah, I mean, I like this linebacker room, man. I mean, I see youth, I see legs, I see the stars. Right, we got the stars. The question is does these names, Quintavious Johnson, Chris Jones, you mentioned it, Justin Williams, Chris Cole, these guys who
here's the question: if they don't get to play, are they going to hit the portal?
They're going to have to play. I mean, we're not deep enough. I mean, you look at our linebacking core, and we lost Jalen, we lost Smile.
No, but I'm saying if we bring in one of these 5 stars freshmen that plays, is it going to squeeze these guys out? That's how much playing time is going to keep them?
Well,
that's a whole new chess match in the middle of this.
you gotta think something though, because we've not been very active in the portal. So you got to think we spent some money on these guys. So you got to think that our big goal is development. Our big goal is to see these guys and to treat them like, I mean, you're going to have to do it, right? You're going to have to start treating these guys like, I mean, NFL players. So it's like you come in and it's like you sit down with them and you go, hey, this is a little bit different than when, we were just paying your meal card and you felt grateful to be a part of the team and to possibly by your junior year be able to contribute. Some if you were really, really, really good, it was a sophomore. But now it's like, listen, man, we're paying you a couple $1 million. Like, this is life-changing money for you and your family. The least I need you to do is I need you to grow up. I need you to study the playbook. I need you to do your homework. I need you to, because if you can't do that, you looked at Kirby. Kirby was very, very nonchalant about what left out of the portal. I mean, names. I mean, I've read through so much material. Let's see if I saved this. Yeah, I got this one right here. So much material about just Kirby that is to be bragged about. Like, I looked at what Jordan. These are the past. Some of the past guys that around Super Bowl time has talked about Kirby. One being Jordan Davis. I wouldn't be here without him. Jordan Davis says, I wouldn't be here without Kirby Smart. You got Nolan Smith. He's in the Super Bowl this coming up weekend. He's a special man. He'll treat you like no other, And so you got to know that he's really, I mean, who's this right here? This is Keely Ringo from the Philadelphia Eagles, one of the greatest coaches I've ever been around. And so when you look at that, the challenge for Kirby is he's got the culture down. He has the NFL mentality. He's going to get you physically ready, and he has the practices that are centered around making you great to be able to go and be successful in the NFL. However, what I think sometimes he lacks in is trust in what they're going to be ready to take on when they take the field as a young 18, 19-year-old kid, right?
Yeah. I agree.
He looks for proof in the pudding. If he doesn't see it on the field, he doesn't think it's going to just happen when you turn the lights on. And I'm like that. I'm sure you're like that. It's kind of like when you let your daughter drive the car for the first time, and you got some curbs hit. You just think things didn't really go well. From the keen eye, it's not going to look like she's going to be very successful if you just send her out there on her own.
Oh, she wasn't. She wrecked it in 29 days.
Well, I didn't know that story, but coincidentally, I guess it lines up pretty correctly. But that's kind of what Kirby does. Is he's like, look, I see the proof on the wall. They're going to go wreck the car in 29 days.
We're not going live.
It's so funny, man. So funny. And then obviously, I like the secondary. This will be backtrack. I like the secondary. Obviously, KJ Bolden returns. He'll probably be the staple back there in that free position. May have a little battle. Free safety. May have a little battle on our hands. I mean, I've heard good things about Chris Peel from Oregon. Ja'Cory Thomas is probably lined up to take the most snaps at strong. There is Jaden Harris. Todd Robinson comes to us from Valdosta. The star, I think you look at Janelle Aguero. I think he's He did a really great job for us this year when he was healthy. Zion Branch is coming in that location, the one of the Branch brothers from out at USC. And then Peyton Woodring is going to return to kick, and then hopefully Brett Thorson, we're going to be able to see what he's like coming off this knee injury. Be curious to see what he's doing during spring practice and during G-Day.
On this depth chart that I got Branch behind Bolden, and I got Maddox behind Aguero.
Really?
Yeah.
Maddox? So, what's Maddox's first name?
Adrian.
Okay. Haven't heard that name, but that's interesting. I need to look him up a little bit. Adrian Maddox.
Yeah, and third on the depth chart for the nickel is Kyron Jones.
Yeah, like Kyron Jones.
Red shirt sophomore.
Yeah.
I mean, like I told you before, like we got a bunch of folks coming.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, there's no lack of talent at all. I mean, I'm ready to see it. I mean, we
always say how they pan out once they
yes. I agree. I mean, and we're in February, Rich man. I mean, we said we were gonna announce this, but spring practice. We look at. If I'm looking at when I think spring practice will start, it looks like it's going to begin on March 12th on a Tuesday, and then it will conclude with the annual G-Day game on April 13th, which is also Saturday of the Masters. That'll be, I don't know, we just always hung around that weekend up there around the Masters, but March 12th is first day of spring practice. April 13th is G-Day. We're less than, I mean, here it is, Rich man. We're less than almost a month and a few days away from seeing some of this talent.
The only bright spot in the doldrums.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. What's up, Kathy? Kathy's at the Lightning game. 2-2. Wow, better game than I went to. I went to a blowout game, 3-0. But hey, we're gonna wrap it up. Been a good show, man. Love the buy and sell. We kind of covered a lot of stuff, a lot of things. We're just we're barking at material. We're gonna go twice this week. We're gonna look at a way too early. We're gonna do some fun stuff on Thursday night. Way too early SEC predictions. How we think SEC teams will line up. Way too early. What we think. We gave a little bit of it away. We like Texas a lot, but we'll go down. We'll see who we possibly think could really cause an uproar as far as maybe upset cities and maybe tweak themselves into the college football playoff. We'll also see some teams that could finish at the bottom of the totem pole and are possibly looking for coaches next year, though. So we'll play around with that and also look at some more hot topic. We'll field some questions, Q&A stuff. Then we might venture over to TikTok. If you haven't done so, follow us on TikTok. We will make TikTok a really big platform for as long as we have it. We're blessed to continue to have that. So Dogs Down South on TikTok. So final thoughts tonight, Rich man. It's been a fun show.
Man, I'm excited. I can't wait for the G-Day game because that kind of gives us our first glimpse of what next season's going to look like. So,
yeah. March 12th, man, we get to report some news.
The big things I think for me, what are you looking for in the G-Day game? My big thing is quarterback play and can these guys actually catch balls? Those are the two things that I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Defense will be fun. We know these guys are going to come to play defensively.
Yeah, I have a really staggering list, but I would say if I had three big things, I'm looking for quarterback competitiveness. I'd like to see some quarterbacks really competing. I want to see them very knowledgeable, commanding on the field, and I want to see our receivers just wanting the ball. I mean, I want to see them going. I want to see the AJ Greens hungry to go get the ball, not just to drop the ball. I want to see balls. I want Gunnar Stockton to be rewarded, and I want Ryan Puglisi to be rewarded if he throws it into the catch radius, not just puts it in their hands, right? So I'm looking to see these younger receivers, a lot of young receivers, C.J. Wiley, Talon Taylor, Blackshear,
I can't wait to see those two
Rettle.
guys.
I mean, I'm ready to see those guys. I'm ready to see what I know Thomas fits in. If Colby's out there, you got 2 6'3s out there.
Yeah.
You got Zion. What kind of speed, elusiveness does he have? I mean, does
I mean, like
it's
on
just
paper, it's exciting, but we've had that before.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, on paper, it's extremely exciting, but when you really start looking at it, it's like how much of this is going to just actively like come together, right?
I tell you another thing I'm going to be looking for too, and that's some run game.
Yeah,
I want to see these running backs take the band-aids off and get out there and play some fucking football.
yeah, yeah. I agree. They weren't the family-friendly show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're
I
good.
get a little
You're
fired
good,
up
man.
sometimes. I mean,
No, you're good, man.
this soft running
I
game,
do want to see that. I want to
this soft
see.
running game for the last 3 years is killing me, man.
Yeah, I want to see that defensive line and offensive line competitiveness. I want to see, I want to see how we line up on defense. I want to see who, and I'm really excited to see how some of these guys that have 5 stars behind their name. I just want to see them press to want to get on the field, right? How can they? Who's going to be the Ryan Williams that just gives Kirby no excuse not to be on the field? I think that's what Ryan Williams did. He said, "Look, you can doubt me, you can doubt my experience, but at the end of the day, if I'm in whatever position I'm playing, if you throw the ball my way, I'm going to catch it, and that's the number one goal, right? And I know I'm going to make some mess ups. I'm going to run some weird routes, but can we just be honest? There were veteran receivers this past year that ran some pretty butchered routes.
Hi,
And then
the route
didn't
running. Well, look, we didn't get any separation, so what does that tell you about the route running? Okay, and then
right.
the other thing was they didn't block.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't tell me I'm putting these guys out there because they're blockers when they ain't blocking,
Yeah.
and they ain't catching, and they ain't running sharp routes.
Yeah. I agree, brother. Hey, we will
They're
pick
just
this up.
wearing numbers.
We'll pick this up on Thursday evening. I have a staggering list that I'll be watching. I think for me, I'll be following every practice, and those I'll be hanging my notes, going what are we seeing? What is the eye seeing? But it's going to be an interesting spring. I think this team on paper right now has a lot of question marks, but I think by the time that we get into fall practice, I think we can have some really nice things in play. I think we still have a stab or two at the portal post spring. We'll fill some possible positions that are of need. But I'm excited about it. So, Richman, always fun, man. We looked at defense way too early offense, and guess what? We'll be able to go back in about a month and a few days and actually figure out
and amend it.
Yeah, we make any sense to everybody. So don't forget, if you haven't done so, follow us on YouTube, Dogs Down South, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Dogs Down South, and TikTok, Dogs Down South. 24 hours after this, if you go hop over to Apple Podcasts, you can catch this show. Episode 49 will be entitled Hot Takes, Buy or Sell, and Defensive Way Too Early Depth Charts. For myself and for my man Richman, you guys have a great night, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs.